It's day 10 and I'm trying to shelter from an increasing wind. The sun's just gone down, but instead of a sky full of stars, we have a sky full of cloud much further west in Jeddah. Heavy rains today, floods, schools closed, roads closed, and we're told a weather system coming our way, which is indicated by the high clouds, which have now become thick clouds, and an increasing wind. But when Philby was in this point, he commented in his notes of pitching camp being utterly weary, and I think that's the way I feel today. It's been a long day, up at 5:30, driving north out of the empty quarter towards the 1917 journey route that Philby took. And if you look at a map of Saudi Arabia, it is utterly enormous if you compare it to the size of UK. It's 10 times the size of Britain with half the number of people. So it's utterly empty in many places, and we've barely seen a soul all day, and we've been driving relentlessly north in the fantastic four-wheel drives that we have loaned to us for this expedition. But it's been a long day, from enormous sand dunes to gravel plains to rocky plateau to sand desert, and once again, but a very different sand. The sand is now much redder, we're much higher, we're at about 1,000 feet above sea level now. And again, if you look back at that map of Saudi Arabia, you'll see three deserts. In the northwest, the Nafud Desert. In the south and southeast, the biggest sand desert on earth, the empty quarter, or the Rub al Khali. But connecting the two is a thin ribbon of sand like an umbilical cord called the Ad-Dahna dunes. And we are now on Philby's line, on the east side of those dunes. They vary from between 30 to 60 kilometres in width, and tomorrow our challenge is to cross those dunes to meet someone who's waiting for us, hopefully with a few camels, so that we can use some camels on this leg of the journey. And it was interesting because we reconnected with Philby's route at the famous tree that we visited a few days ago, where he took a photograph of his men praying in the afternoon as the sun was setting. And when Philby pushed on from there, he described the terrain as a completely empty, featureless plateau, with here and there cairns of stones loosely set upon knolls that serve as beacons to the wandering Bedou or travellers. And we've been following those rocky cairns this afternoon steadily west until we were virtually running out of daylight. We stopped about 20 minutes before sunset, and we've set up camp amongst some undulating dunes on a little shingle plain, which will be our home for the night. The fire is lit, the food is cooking. We may get some flour and try and bake some Bedouin bread on the embers of the fire a little bit later on. But I suspect everyone will turn into their beds quite early tonight after a very, very long day. And Philby must have been exhausted every day bouncing around on camels. At this stage, he was about 4 days from meeting the man he was travelling to meet, Ibn Saud. So we'll talk more about that in the next podcast in the next couple of nights.